On a suddenly not so casual Thursday in September, it is NFL, the extra points, the big show, the shark and the gun, right here live on Sharky Waters Nation, Thursday, September 19th, 2024. Come on over to YouTube. On X, you can chat with us too. Fire up the chat, fire off some beers, a massive rivalry game in the AFC East tonight. Guns Picks, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, I'm wearing the colors for a reason. My boys are going into some divisional matchup element here in East Rutherford. MetLife Stadium is going to be an electric game, but we have some takes, we have some props, and hell, we even have a take on the total. I can't wait to get into it. Sharky, let's get into it.
Not waiting around, a bunch of plays. We're going to go to the gun first. Looking at the total, I think this is a conversation we've been having for a couple years now regarding Thursday night football totals being highly unique. The gun is honed in on the first half under the first official of this Thursday night broadcast.
Yeah, I'm cutting this in half. When we look at this total, two different sides of this one, a little bit lopsided as far as the production is concerned from both sides of the team. So you have both teams coming in here 1-1. Ironically enough, their losses coming from NFC West teams. Both are near the minus of net yards. You have the New York Jets at minus 85 net yard average for the year, and you have New England at +9 for the year. Granted, only 2-game sample size on that one. And of course, you got to look at New England. I guess they own the history of this one, 16-1 straight up, dating back to 2015. They had 4 wins last year, and 2 of those were against the New York Football Jets. But this is a different New York Football Jets team than of yesteryears. But let's talk about the halves with these two teams. So you have New England in the first half of their first 2 games. They put up 10 points versus Cincinnati and 13 points versus Seattle. On the other side, for the Jets, they in their first 2 games, they put up 7 points versus San Francisco and 7 points versus Tennessee. Now, to break it down to a percentage term standpoint, the New York Football Jets, 32.5% of their points comes from the first half. So that means right now, if we have to see a bigger sample size, they are more of a second half team than they are a first half team. On the other side, when we look at New England, 63.7% of their points come from the first half. So you have polar opposites. You have a New England team that is a first half team versus a second half team, and Jets as a second half team versus a first half team. Then you got to look at New England, 5th in the league in terms of time of possession, owning the ball for 56.6% of the time. And then you have the the New York Football Jets, 29th in the league in terms of time of possession, owning the ball for 42.82% of the time. And what is New England going to do? I think their philosophy in this game, they're going to want to run the ball and run it early. They're doing the New York Jets defense gives up 4.7 yards per carry this season. So I expect a lot of run-oriented type of schemes here from Gerard Mayo, especially early in this game. And then you got to look at Aaron Rodgers. Even if you look at his passing yards in the first half, 40.8% of his total passing yards have come from the first half in his first 2 games. So this guy gets to the locker room, they adjust. In the second half, he explodes. And I kind of see the game going in that orientation. I see a little bit more of a first half slow pace, the way that New England likes to control a lot of these games. And these teams just, if you look back, even back to this 16-1 and everything that, you can go back and look at their first half totals on this one. You see a lot of 9s, you see a lot of 13s, you see a lot of low scoring first halves. So what I'm getting at here is I'm throwing the side out the window because you see this line inflated here, and Chuck will get to that in a second with the New York Jets. They've been a dog in most of these cases. Of course, you got to do the Tom Brady era, and you have the bevy of quarterbacks that had to play against Tom Brady in that sample size. And even with Jones as a quarterback, they were winning those games. But I'm focusing on the total. Like I said, I think it's going to be more of an under, but I don't think it's going to be an under for the full game. I want to take advantage of the first half. So give me New England, New York Jets under 19.5 +100 first half as the play.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. Jumping off my official of the night, 8:15, as I mentioned, at MetLife. Guns fumbled it up. He's my guy. I will not. East Rutherford, New Jersey. Stand the hell up, Jets Nation. And I got a big official on this one tonight, -6. And I started looking at this. You have to go all the way back to September 23rd, 2021, to when the domination from the Patriots began. It was the first game after 9/11. The Jets were playing up in New England. FDNY firefighters were on the field at Old Foxborough Stadium. Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback. Vinny Testaverde was the quarterback. Drew Bledsoe gets drilled by Mo Lewis. Enter Tom Brady, and the Patriots proceeded to go 38-9 in the next 47 against the Jets. Domination at its finest, heightened by a 15-0 sample in most recent history before losing in the final game of last year. And that's where this handicap really begins, a long-term reversal in the law of averages. We talk about this almost every single show on here. People like the bounce back. New England lost one. The Jets are due for a 20-year bounce back here. And what you're really looking at, this is the first time the Jets have been favored in this matchup since Week 10, 2011. That's 24 straight games the Patriots were favored. That's an NFL record between two teams. This is incredibly noteworthy from a line standpoint, the ultimate buy low. And something I want to bring to attention, as I was talking on X all day about this is not just the Jets favored -1 or -2. This opened at -7.5. When you're an underdog 24 straight, and all of a sudden you're not even a playoff team last year, and you're favored by over a touchdown, this is a hammer line. And really honing into this season in particular, this is a great spot to sell the Patriots. Third game in 11 days, short week off an overtime game, 2-0 ATS with the journeyman Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. A Jacoby Brissett quarterback, I must say, who has not been impressive in weeks 1 and 2. Patriots really catching the Bengals in a snooze spot on the road in week 1 and a push or a cover in overtime, depending on your line last week in Foxborough. And the Jets are a buy low, and the Jets are showcasing momentum from a low point in San Francisco up here to Tennessee. They should continue upward, not only against the Patriots in the division, but in this Aaron Rodgers era. Cover on Sunday at Tennessee. Key point in that game, also momentum, down 7-0 after the first quarter, 24-10 Jets in the final 3 quarters. And then you really bring it to MetLife tonight. This is only the second game Aaron Rodgers will ever start as a Jets quarterback in front of the home fans. Last year on 9/11, 2023, the first series, a torn Achilles. The energy in this building will be bigger than you have seen for the Jets in 15 to 20 years tonight. It's a rookie head coach on the road. It's a one-dimensional offense. It's a huge line for the Jets. We have the Jets to win this game on average by 15 points. It is an opportunity to dominate. Stand the hell up, Jets Nation. Let's go. Throwing it to the gun on Aaron Rodgers over 20.5 passing attempts, which does correlate directly to what my handicap is centered on. Guns, talk to me.
Yeah, let's look at this prop here that I like here on Thursday Night Football. The weakness so far with the New England defense, if you've ever watched their first 2 games so far, is basically they allow quarterbacks to complete passes. Granted, they keep everything in front of them, but the completion rate of these quarterbacks is kind of alarming. You have Joe Burrow in week 1, 21 of 29, 72.4% pass completion rate. And then Geno Smith last week, taking them into overtime, 33 for 44 passing, 75% pass completion rate in that game. Aaron Rodgers, 31 for 51 for the year, 60.8% pass completion rate. But look at the defense he's faced. San Francisco, he had 19 completions in that game. Granted, not the greatest pass defense in the world, but still a very tough game to go on the road in your first game coming back from an ACL injury. Haven't really played with the Jets before. Still learning the game type situations in this one. Still had 19 pass completions in that game. Tennessee, 19 completions in that game as well. And this is a Tennessee team in 2 games that holds their opponents to 54% pass completion rate. So this is a good defense on the Tennessee Titan side. So in the first 2 games for New England, they gave up 21 and 33 completions to quarterbacks. Now you have a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers that hasn't surpassed 20 completions yet this season, and you're seeing the line sit here at 20 and a half. I think that is a strong indicator coming back to MetLife where his injury happened in week 1 as he's running down the field with the flag. The fireman Ed is cheering. Yeah, we love you, Aaron. Next thing you know, he goes down, and that is the Jets being the Jets. However, I think in this situation, he's going to get over his completion rate on this one. So give me Aaron Rodgers for 20 and a half completions plus 100, 1 unit play.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. I hadn't looked at the prop market, but I think it's a great spot there. And, even going back to last week, Geno Smith just absolutely lit up this team in the passing game. 2 separate receivers on the Seahawks had 10 catches for over 100 yards. I saw that earlier, and it was some sort of NFL record in some capacity. I mean, that's big-time stuff for 2 receivers on the Seahawks to both get 10 for 100. The New England defense has been decent in the run, but a sieve in the pass game. And that also brings us back to the total where Guns is sitting on the first half under. But I think a really crucial point here in terms of the totals, which I mentioned going back about 10 minutes ago, these Thursday Night Football totals, even going back to last year, where if you guys recall, in the beginning of the 2023 NFL season, there was a ton of primetime unders. And we kept coming on here on Thursday Night Football and saying, guys, not every primetime game is created equally, particularly from a rest standpoint. And you saw a lot of overs specifically on Thursday Night Football. And what it really comes down to is the recovery time is short for both units, but it's harder on the defense. As we continue to say, defensive players have to be reactive as offensive players are proactive coming at them. It's harder on the defense. And oftentimes you do see a lot of points here. And, going back through these games that have been played this season so far with these teams, real dud fest on the road. The only time New England played on the road this year, as we mentioned before, Cincinnati really didn't show up for that game. It wasn't so much New England played great. Cincinnati was just absolutely terrible in that game. 26 points last week. Go back to overtime. It did go over in overtime 23-20, but the Jets really have not scored the ball with any authority until they did awaken in the late second quarter in Tennessee on Sunday. So we think the game could definitely go over. Guns on the first half under, and also Guns want to discuss New England in the first half at plus 3.5.
Yeah, it just goes back to what I said about the percentages. You have a New York Jets. It's so hard to say those New York. I want to say New York Football Giants every time I talk about them, but we're talking about the Jets here. So the Jets, 32.5% of their scoring is in the first half, and then they adjust and go back to the locker room, whatever they have to do, and then they actually turn up in the second half. And then the same with New England. This is a polar opposite. So that's why I think that initially with Jared Mayo being one of the new coaches in this one, he's going to focus on time of possession. They've already shown that in the first 2 games. This is knowing that their offense is going to struggle. They have issues with the offensive line, but they do have a very productive rush offense with Stevenson in the backfield. So I think they're going to be trying to focus on that, try to get that yak yardage, knowing that the Jets in the rush defense, giving up over almost nearly 5 yards per carry. I think they're ranked 20th in rush defense. So I think that's the way you got to take advantage of them. If they get in those 3rd and long situations or get in those, in those situations where the run's not working, that's going to be trouble here, giving the ball back to Aaron Rodgers. But I think if you're looking at this from a full game perspective, quarter by quarter, half by half, I think you have New England knowing they're playing a divisional rival, a team they've owned in the past. They're going to keep this thing close in the first half, and then the adjustments are going to be made, and you're really going to see this Jets team kind of explode in the second half, whereas you have the Patriots knowing that they kind of get a lead and they try not to lose that lead. It doesn't work out for them here. That's why I'm taking the first half on this one, and you're getting it at over the key number of 3. So I think it's going to be very close in the first half. However, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to turn up in the second half. So maybe it could be a yin-yang type situation. You focus on the first half under and then take the over in the second half if that does hit. It could be a double play on this one on this beautiful Thursday, but that's how I'd probably play it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's a lot of complexity here as we're going half to half, totals, props, a lot of stuff, but we're trying to analyze this game in immense detail. I think emphatically, we both think that the Jets take care of business here over the course of 60 minutes. And I think another point on this game, which I didn't mention before, but if you guys have watched the New England games in weeks 1 and 2, incredibly one-dimensional, as Guns was mentioning briefly. But Jacoby Brissett has not been looking even reasonable in the passing game, right around 50% completion percentage, not even close to 200 yards in either game. This is a one-dimensional offense with the run game. And I think if you look at what the Jets have done, the Jets have done in the run game on defense, go back to last week. It's slightly deceiving, actually. They give up 130 yards, which seems, probably kind of on the average, maybe a little bit little egregious on their part, but they held the primary back on the Titans, Tony Pollard, to 17 for 62, 3.6 yards per carry. And Will Levis, the quarterback, actually ran 4 for 38, which bloats those numbers considerably. And Jacoby Brissett is not a mobile running quarterback trying to get downfield in the run game. So if you really look at the Patriots here being reliant on the primary back to prop up really a poor offense, I think the Jets are going to take care of business tonight. And as I mentioned, this stadium is going to be absolutely raucous. This is a brutal travel spot for the Patriots on a short week, a cluster of games, far too hot statistically, and the strongest line for the Jets since 2011. It's emphatically strong stuff. We see our guy Ziggy in the chat says, I'm just worried this is like the Bills-Dolphins situation. Just for conversational purposes, you have to really look at what context you're evaluating this in. Not all division trends are created equally. That particular Bills trend has been with Sean McDermott and Josh Allen the whole time, and largely against Tua. So it's been a continuum. This Patriots versus Jets trend was almost exclusively Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, who are no longer there. So if you wanted to actually take this and say it's the same context, you would actually have to remove Sean McDermott and Josh Allen from that conversation to make it equal. It's not equal just because it's the same division and historical trends. So always try to specify your context you're evaluating in. It's very important to define if a trend does correlate to another trend or not. And we're going to wrap it up on that. 20 fast minutes in the books. It is the Shark and the Gun, the Extra Points, Thursday Night Football, Week 3. We will be live tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. CFB Knowledge for College coming off a great week, and upward movement has been commenced, as we said it would. And I got a bunch of plays, as does the Gun, for tomorrow night. Wrapping it up there, my official play, New York Jets -6. Lay down the hammer, boys. The Gun on New England first half +3.5. First half under 19.5. And Aaron Rodgers over 20.5 completions.
I want to correct you. I'm just on the under first half. I did talk about the total. I said I lean that way, but I'm on the under 19.5, and I'm on the over on Aaron Rodgers.
Did I misspeak on that one?
I think you said I had the side on the first half. I don't have the side.
Oh, okay. So 2 officials for the Gun, under in the first half, 19.5, and over Rodgers, 20.5 completions. We appreciate you guys immensely. Have a beautiful night. Enjoy it, and let's dominate. Guns Picks, a pleasure as always. Closing out with some words, and let's go.
Yeah, we're going to be back tomorrow with Knowledge for College, Week 4 edition. Got a lot of delicious plays on this one. Great slate as well. Please join us 7 p.m. Friday night. We can break down the plays with you, and also check us out on the Extra Points Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with myself, the Shark, and the Odds Fella. Is going to be one of the most electric shows all season long. So join us for that. But let's enjoy some Thursday night football for now. Till we see you Friday, let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate the board. And as always, let's keep dancing. Bang.